On the day Daniel and I got married, Eliza, the popular girl group idol, overdosed on pills and ended her life. Her last social media post was for Daniel, "Happy wedding, I'm sorry. I love you." That night, Daniel, in despair, attempted suicide in our new home's bathroom. When the ambulance arrived, he was still whispering, "Eliza, I'm coming with you, wait for me." That's when I realized the person I had cared for over 10 years was already in love with the person who once bullied him. When their story came out, countless citizens were moved. I became the villain, the so-called homewrecker, and was attacked online by Eliza's extreme fans until it cost me my life. I'm reborn on the first day Daniel was bullied by Eliza. This time, I didn't offer my help. In this life, I genuinely wish them well. After being pushed off a building by Eliza's obsessed fans, I found myself back, reliving the day in high school when Daniel was first bullied by Eliza. Right then, Eliza was pouring water over Daniel's head, laughing, "Country bumpkin, your hair is so dirty it's knotted. Let me wash it for you, don't bother thanking me." In my previous life, I was the class monitor. I couldn't stand seeing Daniel bullied, so I spoke up to stop Eliza. Eliza only backed off because I stood up, but she still bullied him behind my back. I ended up constantly watching over Daniel, protecting him from being bullied for 3 whole years in high school. He got an amazing score on his college entrance exams and could have gone to the best school in the country, but he applied to the same college as me and confessed his feelings. Daniel was good-looking, smart, and I agreed. After we were together, I naturally always thought for him. After graduating college, Daniel joined my family's company for an internship. Dad was impressed by his performance. Our marriage was on the agenda. But I never expected that right after our wedding, he would take his life in our bathroom. The water in the tub was stained red with his blood. When I found him there, I collapsed in shock. I quickly dialed 911 with trembling hands. But when I tried to save him, I noticed he was desperately clutching a faded photograph. The person in the picture was Eliza, the top idol from a girl group and the girl who bullied him in high school. It was like a bomb went off in my mind. It wasn't until the ambulance arrived that I came to terms with what was happening. As Daniel was being carried to the ambulance, he briefly regained consciousness. He kept whispering, "Eliza, I love you. I'm coming with you, wait for me." Every bit of understanding I thought I had turned into a big joke. I couldn't have imagined that Daniel had fallen for Eliza amidst her relentless bullying. What a mess. And me, agreeing to be with him, was like being a clown played by him, stupid and pathetic. I felt sick to my stomach. Daniel was taken to the hospital, but he couldn't be saved. On the way to the hospital, it all clicked. Daniel killed himself because Eliza overdosed on sleeping pills on our wedding day. Her last post before she died read, "Daniel, happy wedding, I'm sorry. I love you." Seeing this, Daniel tried calling Eliza desperately, but no answer. When the news broke of Eliza's death, Daniel hopelessly chose to end his own life. Since Eliza was a pop idol with many fans, her death quickly stirred up the real reason for her suicide. It turned out she killed herself because the person she loved got married. Fans soon discovered Daniel's existence. Initially, they aimed their anger at Daniel, but then they discovered he too had killed himself. A love story where 2 people die for love, and one is a pop idol, struck a chord with everyone online, taking the internet by storm. I became the so-called villain who tore them apart. Even though friends from school tried to defend me online, the crazed fans didn't believe it. They were convinced I was the reason for Daniel and Eliza's deaths. The online abuse was relentless, cursing and wishing death upon me, demanding I atone in hell. My family's company also took a hit from the scandal, attacked by competitors and taken over bit by bit. I was nearly driven to depression by the online attacks. But even then, Eliza's extreme fans wouldn't stop. They found my address and dragged me to the top of a building to push me off. Go apologize to Eliza in hell. And just like that, I died because of Daniel and Eliza. Thinking back on everything from my past life, watching Daniel being drenched and humiliated only filled my heart with endless hate. I realized the online commentators were right. Feeling sorry for a man only brings misfortune. The world isn't filled with tales of salvation. More often it's about kindness betrayed. This time, I didn't stop Eliza, just glanced at them both, and then went back to my work. Our school is a prestigious one. Most students come from wealthy families. Like Daniel, who transferred here for his potential, raised to boost the school's graduation rate. But social class can't be climbed by grades alone. So people like him don't really fit in. Bullying and disdain were the norm. However, because he was a hand-picked student by the principal, others didn't usually go too far. Daniel was just unlucky. Right after transferring, he had accidentally bumped into Eliza while rushing to class. It was Eliza's fault for not watching where she was going. But Daniel was a poor student, and Eliza loved forming cliques, never focusing on studies. After that, she started picking on Daniel, targeting him wherever she could. Watching Daniel already in with Eliza's sight, classmates couldn't help but watch the show. Daniel looked embarrassed and caught off guard, staring at Eliza. "I've already washed my hair," Daniel said quickly. Class burst into laughter, and Daniel's face turned redder. But despite his embarrassment, his eyes still stole glances at Eliza. His eyes were surprisingly bright when he looked at her. Seeing this made me realize how foolish I was in my past life. I never noticed he was in love with Eliza from the beginning. He didn't fall for her because of Stockholm Syndrome from her bullying. He already liked her. Her bullying wasn't bullying for him, but a chance to get closer. And my protection was nothing more than my own delusion. He probably even thought I was interfering, getting in the way of him and Eliza. This realization made me clutch my pen tightly with anger and disgust boiling inside. "Daniel, since you've had a crush on Eliza for ages, why did you even mess with me in the first place? Was I just part of your plan to rile her up? Fine, if that's your mess, then just keep me out of it." After a long pause, I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. Eliza just sneered after Daniel finished speaking. "You washed your head, but it's still dirty. That's just gross," she said, and threw the water bottle she was holding right at Daniel's head. Daniel didn't say a word, just hung his head low. Eliza noticed and stomped on his leg, lightly slapping his face. "I'm telling you, messing with me means you'll never last in this school. Today is just a small lesson. Act up again and you'll see." With that, Eliza returned to her seat with her friends. Meanwhile, Daniel looked like a terrified victim, but who knows if he was really scared, or if he was excited and thrilled by getting what he secretly wanted. Eliza probably didn't realize that what she thought was punishment was actually a reward for him. Just the thought made my stomach churn. Daniel made me sick. Without me stopping it, Eliza started to bully Daniel openly. She made him run errands as class was about to start. She'd splash him with dirty mop water, throw snotty tissues at him, put bloody items in his desk, and rip up his textbooks and papers. Yet, Daniel never resisted. Even with all this going on, when the monthly exams ended, Daniel still came out as the top of the grade. That surprised everyone in our class. Despite all the hassle from Eliza, he still nabbed first place. Impressive. I stared resentfully at my report card. I always topped the grade before Daniel transferred here. This past month, I've been busting my butt studying like crazy. Yet, here I am, still losing to him. Is there really no catching up to him, no matter how hard I try? And all of a sudden, I realized why I agreed to Daniel's confession in my past life. Maybe, deep down, I'm the kind of girl who admires strength. Because Daniel always excelled compared to me, that's probably why I liked him. I quickly snapped myself out of it, reminding myself, other people's strength is their business. It's got nothing to do with me. It's about strengthening my own skills. Instead of admiring others, why not improve myself? Daniel's result is great and all, but I'm not too bad myself. And because of his stellar performance, Eliza's interest in him only grew. After class, she walked up to Daniel's desk. "Even after all that, you still landed first place, huh? Not bad," she said, smiling at him. Daniel said nothing, just kept his head down. Suddenly, Eliza grabbed his chin, smiling slyly. "If you crawl like a dog for me, I'll let you be my boyfriend. Deal?" The whole class gasped. Eliza's friends behind her exchanged nervous glances. "Eliza, are you serious right now?" "Yeah, a countryside boy is not good enough for you." Eliza simply laughed. "Well, I've never dated a top student before. He might be plain, but he's number one." Daniel's heart tried to calm his excitement, fixing his eyes on Eliza. "Really?" "Of course," Eliza said casually. Unexpectedly, Daniel actually got down to the floor on all fours, circling Eliza and the desk. The whole class whipped out their phones, capturing the moment frantically. Oh my god, Daniel's really crawling like a dog. Turns out Daniel likes Eliza all along. Damn, Eliza's irresistible. Most poor kids are proud of their dignity. Making Daniel crawl like that was clearly trampling on his pride. But Daniel didn't even hesitate, he just knelt. After crawling, he looked at Eliza with hopeful eyes. "Is this good enough?" Eliza looked around at the excited classmates and proudly raised her chin, extending her foot toward him. "My shoes are dirty. You know what to do, right?" she asked arrogantly. Realizing Daniel liked her, triumph and excitement filled her face as if she found a new toy. She started testing how far Daniel would go to obey her. Daniel paused just briefly, then reached out for Eliza's foot. Classmates elbowed closer, snapping pictures of him and Eliza's shoes. Moments later, the room erupted. "No way, he actually licked it? I can't believe it." Daniel seemed so aloof, yet he did that? I wasn't surprised at Daniel's choice. When he stood up, I feigned curiosity. Did he really lick her shoe? Wouldn't Eliza find it gross if they kissed later? My words made the room go quiet for a moment. She's right. Yeah, super gross. Eliza and Daniel's expressions froze in place. But soon, Eliza snorted. Someone like him could never kiss me. Letting him be my boyfriend is a charity as it is. Daniel glanced at me before cautiously asking Eliza, so, am I your boyfriend now? Eliza rolled her eyes, nodded. You better come when I call. Daniel beamed and nodded eagerly. I'll do anything you say. Seeing his good attitude, Eliza nodded, satisfied, and went back to her seat. I just kept studying. After starting to date Eliza, Daniel started skipping classes more often. He also began reeking of cigarettes. Some afternoons, I'd see them smoking together outside campus, making out in public, and even street racing. Daniel dyed his hair white to match her taste and got an ear piercing. Their private school didn't care about hair or fashion. Students with dyed hair were everywhere. But Daniel's background wasn't like the rich kids who could get away with anything. The school had recruited him for their grades. So when they caught him skipping and dyeing his hair, a teacher talked to him. But Daniel just continued doing as he pleased. And since his next exam was still top of the class, the teachers stopped pushing. I looked at the few-point gap between my scores and Daniel's, then went back to my study routine. I also sent anonymous pictures of Eliza and Daniel kissing to Ivan. In my past life, Eliza's path from a talent show contestant to a top idol was heavily tied to her fiancé, Ivan. Ivan was vindictive but doted on Eliza, his fiancée since childhood. Eliza always knew she'd marry him one day, so she didn't care about her grades, just waiting for the day she'd come of age, and their engagement would be official. But what if Ivan finds out that his girl was kissed by Daniel? Even if it was just a kiss, a man like Ivan wouldn't be able to handle that. He might not do anything to Eliza, but he'd definitely come after Daniel. To no one's surprise, a few days after the photo was leaked, Daniel stopped showing up to class. It wasn't until the teacher checked in on him that we learned he'd been beaten up and was in the hospital. As the class president, I went with the teacher to visit him on behalf of all the students. The teacher looked at him with concern. Daniel, who did this to you? We heard from the doctors that he had 2 broken ribs, a seriously fractured right leg, and the worst of it, a fractured wrist with 3 fingers having shattered injuries. For a kid looking to pass college entrance exams, this could seriously mess with his chances. Daniel looked a bit defeated and just said, I don't know. The teacher frowned. Didn't the police find out anything? Daniel just nodded, but deep down, he knew who had attacked him. The thugs who jumped him had said, Eliza is Ivan's girl. That's how he learned Eliza already had a fiancé. This thought brewed jealousy in Daniel's heart. As I was leaving, I casually said to Daniel, get well soon. The teacher and I will be going now. Daniel glanced up at me, then coldly replied, thanks. Eliza knew Daniel was hospitalized because of Ivan's guys, but she didn't visit him. In class, she even said with disdain, what a loser, can't even fight back. He deserved it. She dated Daniel just to have some fun before her engagement with Ivan, heavily controlling as he is. After she gets engaged, she won't have the freedom she enjoys now. If she messes around after the engagement, Ivan definitely wouldn't let it go. But who knew Daniel would get exposed so fast and end up getting beaten that badly? Hearing Eliza's heartless remark, everyone couldn't help but secretly pity Daniel. It showed that Daniel really had no place in Eliza's heart. Poor guy. Did he think dating her would get him anywhere? Little did he know, he was just another plaything to her. A week later, Daniel hobbled back to school with crutches. As soon as he stepped into the classroom, he made a beeline for Eliza and confessed his feelings. Eliza, I know there are many obstacles between us, but don't worry. No matter how tough it gets, I won't give up. Someone tried to scare me into breaking up with you, but I won't let them win. Even if it costs me everything, I won't let go. I'm committed to you for life. The girls in the class covered their mouths in excitement. Wow, Daniel's so brave and passionate. How did Eliza manage to make him fall head over heels? Suddenly, I found myself a bit envious of Eliza. When's my turn for a sweet love story? Seeing the admiration in everyone's eyes fed Eliza's vanity. She gave Daniel a quick humph. I guess you're not a total coward, she said, chin lifted defiantly. She felt a strange sensation, knowing Daniel was in trouble because of her, yet he remained so unwavering. His willingness to stand against the world for her felt like something out of a romantic drama, unbelievably romantic. Daniel relaxed at Eliza's response, a smile teasing his lips. Of course, a little beating won't make me give up on you. Even if it kills me, I'm in it for you, he said. Listening to this, Eliza abruptly stood up and kissed him in front of everyone. The class erupted into cheers. I gripped my pen tightly, watching them kiss with cold indifference. Disgusting. From Eliza's reaction, it seems she was touched by Daniel, but honestly, I couldn't be happier about it. I truly wish them a lifetime together. After their public kiss, their relationship took a different turn. Eliza used to bully Daniel, but now they were inseparable, always seen holding hands. During breaks, they were practically glued together, always hugging and kissing. At first, the classmates were taken aback, but eventually, it became the norm. I watched them grow closer, biding my time. Soon, it was midterm exam season. Daniel's hand injury slowed his writing, causing his grades to drop significantly. I kept my usual place at the top. After the results came out, Daniel looked at his scorecard with a grim expression. Midterms were crucial for financially struggling students, affecting scholarships. Our prestigious school was generous with financial rewards. Scoring first place would earn a whopping $2,000 prize. In the past life, Daniel snagged this prize, but this time, his grades weren't even in the top 100. Not only was the scholarship out of reach, but at this rate, Daniel might lose his place here too. The teacher, aware of Daniel's injury, didn't reprimand him and offered some comfort instead. After all, we were only in our first year. Daniel had plenty of time to recover and catch up. Yet, what I didn't expect was for Daniel to confront me after I took first place this time. Alice, my hand threw me off this time. Next exam, I'll be number 1. You only have this spot temporarily. Daniel looked at me with cool eyes. I almost laughed. Who knew high school Daniel had this youthful intensity, coming at me with such bold words? In my memory, he was always calm and steady, seldom showing any emotion. Looks like Eliza's influence changed him. Or maybe he was always like this, I just never noticed. Really? Let's wait and see, I said nonchalantly. Seeing I wasn't fazed, Daniel frowned deeply behind me, his voice serious. Alice, you got lucky this time. You won't be so fortunate next time. I didn't look back. I just think, wow, Daniel is so low right now. So, I started focusing on my studies, not letting anything else distract me. Meanwhile, thanks to Eliza's help, Daniel's hand was healing quite well. After another round of exams, Daniel gave me a meaningful look before leaving the exam room. I paid him no mind, packed up my backpack, and strolled out with my friends. Whoever is first will be known by Monday. As I got into my car, I saw Daniel zip past the school gates on a motorcycle with Eliza. Even the driver couldn't help but comment, Alice, isn't that Eliza? Isn't she engaged to Ivan? What's she doing getting so close with another guy? I just murmured an acknowledgement with a slight smirk. See, even our driver knows about Eliza and Ivan's engagement. She really shouldn't be getting so cozy with other guys. I can only imagine what Ivan's family would think of Eliza's current behavior. It's like she's openly disrespecting Ivan. If Ivan were not currently entangled with another popular actress and busy with that mess, I'm sure he would have dealt with them by now. Once Ivan finds out how little Eliza and Daniel care about his words, Daniel would be in huge trouble. But for now, let them enjoy their little bubble. When Ivan gets around to it, there will be plenty of reckonings. Until then, I'll just add a bit of fuel to the fire. Enough to burn Eliza's family's reputation to the ground. Come Monday, the school posted the results at 8 a.m. sharp. First place was still mine. Daniel came in 10th with a 5-point gap. Seeing that he didn't reclaim his first place spot, his face was quite a sight. He didn't expect this, especially after making such bold claims. Post results, Daniel glanced my way almost instinctively. I gave him a calm look and returned to my studies. Frustrated, he went back to his seat and started flipping through his books with grit teeth. That's when Eliza came over. The moment she arrived, Daniel tossed aside his textbook. Eliza, I'm sorry I let you down. I couldn't get first place, Daniel said apologetically. Eliza gave a gentle laugh, saying, cheer up, you're already amazing. If it weren't for your hand injury affecting your performance, first place would certainly be yours. The guy sitting behind Daniel snorted at this. Eliza, stop making excuses for Daniel. Sure, his hand might have impacted his performance, but Alice isn't a pushover either. Don't forget, Alice has been topping the charts since middle school. Daniel was great, but he's been skipping classes and more focused on being with you than studying. Him getting surpassed is no surprise. Eliza was at a loss for words hearing that. Daniel then shot me a deep look, declaring to Eliza, next time, I'll make sure to get first place. I believe in you. Eliza nodded earnestly. From then on, Daniel hit the books with more dedication. Naturally smart, he also had an impressive memory. Soon, he was nailing perfect scores on his classroom tests. I didn't pay it much mind. Intelligence isn't everything. In this life, I'll make sure he loses it all. Before we knew it, it was time for finals. I recall heavy snow on this day in my previous life. Before the test, Eliza had dumped a bucket of dirty water on Daniel as he was using the restroom and locked him in. It being winter, the filthy water quickly turned to ice on him, leaving him shivering from head to toe. When I found him and forced the restroom door open, he was freezing. Afraid he'd fall ill, I rushed him to soak in a hot bath, causing me to miss the morning's language exam. Looking back, I realized I was too kind. Why did I even care if he caught a cold or not? Today, the snow still fell. Wearing a scarf and fingerless gloves, I carefully made my way through the snow into the exam hall for the language test I missed in my past life. Filling out the exam papers, I genuinely felt like I was making up for my past regrets. With finals over, I finally had the time to deal with Eliza and Daniel. In the past life, Daniel spent his winter break working as a tutor to earn money. But now, wanting to stay glued to Eliza, he stopped tutoring and spent his days with her at bars and internet cafes. I bribed a waiter at a bar to spike their drinks a bit. That very night, they ended up together, and not just anywhere, but in a booth. Quite a few people snapped photos. Looking at the high-definition shots on my phone, I couldn't help but smile. Ivan might tolerate Eliza dating before the engagement but not crossing the line. Once she crossed that line, Ivan wouldn't even entertain the thought of marrying her. It was too much of a stain on his reputation. True to form, once the story and pictures were strategically leaked to the media, they quickly made it to Ivan's desk. That night, every trace of the scandal was scrubbed from the net, but it did lead to Ivan calling off the engagement. When Eliza's father, Matt, found her at the bar, she was asleep in Daniel's arms. Infuriated, Matt yanked her up by the hair and slapped her hard across the face. "I raised you better than this. How could you bring such shame on our family?" Eliza awoke with a gasp, screaming in disbelief. "What happened, Dad? I swear I didn't know anything." Matt, eyes filled with both rage and disappointment, cut her off. "You didn't know? You missed the basics of what happens at a bar. Have I not given you enough money? At least if you'd used a hotel room, you wouldn't have been caught on camera. Look at what you've done. Our family's name is in ruins. From now on, you are no daughter of mine." In that moment, Daniel stepped protectively in front of Eliza, heartbroken. "Uncle, this isn't Eliza's fault. Someone spiked our drinks." Matt responded with icy disdain, kicking Daniel aside. "Who are you to speak here? If not for you, Ivan wouldn't have broken off the engagement and our business ties. If Eliza's chosen love over family, she might as well never come back. We're cutting all ties with her." Hearing that, Eliza was completely panicked. "Dad, please don't. Don't call me Dad. I don't have a shameful daughter like you," Matt said, shaking his hand as he left. Daniel quickly hugged Eliza, trying to comfort her. And when Matt said he was cutting ties, he really did. Eliza thought he was joking, but when she got home, she wasn't allowed in. That's when she realized she had really been abandoned. The school, influenced by the public opinion, expelled both of them too. For a while, Eliza was lost and could only find Daniel, ending up living at his place. Daniel was more than happy to take her in, as he wanted Eliza to rely only on him. Plus, since they had already reached a certain step in their relationship, living together meant things quickly got out of control. What neither of them expected was that Eliza ended up pregnant. With her family cutting off her credit card, they were struggling even for meals, let alone having a baby. On top of that, Eliza was still young, so the baby didn't last long and she had a miscarriage. Lying in the hospital, Eliza felt a deep sense of regret for the first time. Ever since she got with Daniel, life had been nothing like the good times she used to have. At first, she could still comfort herself, but cold reality soon showed them just how hard life was without money. It's not like Daniel didn't try to make money, but being still a minor, no legit company would hire him. As for tutoring, neither Eliza nor Daniel was welcomed by any reasonable parents because of their notorious reputations. So Daniel had no choice but to hide his age and work as a mover to earn a little. Even though Daniel tried his best for Eliza, she still felt it wasn't enough. Especially when news of Ivan getting engaged to another heiress hit the headlines. Eliza was fuming with envy. That should have been me. If she hadn't gotten mixed up with someone like Daniel, she would have been engaged to Ivan as soon as she graduated. Although Ivan had scary strong possessiveness, at least being with him meant no hardship. So when Daniel, exhausted from a day of carrying goods, came home that night, he was met with a barrage of thrown objects. "It's all your fault. Daniel, you ruined me. If it weren't for you, I'd never have fallen this low, suffering in this dark basement with you. You're useless. Why don't you just die?" Eliza screamed, throwing a glass at Daniel's head. With a loud crash, blood trickled down Daniel's forehead. It looked terrible, but then, Daniel's eyes on Eliza shifted. "Eliza," Daniel muttered, teeth clenched, stepping towards her. In disbelief, Eliza watched as he suddenly grabbed her neck. Frantically, she hit at his hand. "Are you crazy? How dare you do this to me?" Daniel just coldly laughed, his eyes locked on Eliza's. Then he slapped her hard across the face. "You deserve it. After finishing my last college entrance exam, I was just about to head home when I got a call from an unfamiliar number. "Alice, it's Daniel. Can we meet? I have something to tell you." Daniel's nervous voice came through the line. I frowned. "Daniel, I don't think there's anything for us to talk about. I know there's little between us this life, but in the last life, we were married. Alice, please, give me a chance to meet you, okay?" Hearing that, my heart skipped a beat. What? Could it be that Daniel's been reincarnated too? The thought tightened my grip on the phone as I coldly replied, "This reincarnation talk is just nonsense. Nobody believes that crap and neither do I. Don't call me again." Then I hung up. Yet inside, I was a bit troubled. If he was the Daniel from the past, he should be happy he's with Eliza now. Why is he talking about being married to me in the past? But little did I know, though I didn't want to see him, Daniel wouldn't give up on finding me. Alice, give me 10 minutes? I've got to say something. Daniel stood defiantly in the street. The driver braked hard, cursing out the window. Are you crazy? Trying to get killed here? I looked at Daniel's anxious face with indifference, got out, and faced him. What do you want to say? Daniel's eyes lit up, and he quickly approached. Alice, listen, I've always loved you, I never lied, and we really were a couple in our past life. And I know, deep down, you care about me too, right? Daniel said, full of confidence. I felt sick to my stomach hearing this. The next moment, I backhanded his face hard. Coldly, I said amid his stunned expression, you said you loved me yet on our wedding night, you committed suicide and made me a laughingstock? Daniel, you have such nerve. My biggest mistake in my past life was being with you. Daniel's eyes widened in shock, body trembling. Alice, I didn't realize. Finally, he understood why, in this life, I hadn't defended him like I did in our last life. But soon, tears in his eyes, Daniel shook his head. Alice, I'm sorry. You have every right to hit me. I was such a fool before, tricked by that bitch Eliza. After I died last time, my soul stayed by your side. I saw you getting bullied, wanted to step in to protect you, but I couldn't. And until you died, I found out Eliza hadn't even died. She was brought back after swallowing sleeping pills and getting her stomach pumped, and she didn't overdose because we got married, but to provoke Ivan. Hearing Daniel's words, my mind went blank. Then, clenching my fists tightly, I roared with disbelief. What are you saying? She's not dead? Alive and hiding, watching her fans expose me online and ruin me. Eliza, you're so evil. I won't let you get away with this. Seeing the boiling hatred in my eyes, Daniel quickly promised, Alice, don't worry. I won't let her off. I'll get revenge for you. With that, I delivered another hard slap across his face. My death is all on you, you idiot. Get lost. I never want to see you again. You make me sick. I spat out my words through clenched teeth. Daniel's gaze darkened, but he nodded and left. The day my college entrance exam results came out, I received a short video. In it, Eliza and Daniel's bodies were tied with a rope on a rooftop edge, a small knife in Daniel's hand chipping away at the rope. Eliza's face was twisted in fear, begging desperately. But Daniel remained unmoved, facing the camera, confessing, Alice, I'm sorry. I know we owe you a life. Now, we're giving our lives back to you. As the rope snapped, their bodies fell simultaneously. Eliza's screams echoed from my phone. Daniel, meanwhile, softly said to the phone, Alice, I'm sorry. I love you. I hope we meet again in another life. I deleted the video with a cold smile. Belated love is worthless. In your next life, do me a favor and stay far, far away from me.